Alright, today we're talking about stuff you didn't know, but totally should. We're gonna be jumping around from ancient Sparta to the Swiss Alps, from the ocean floor to outer space. Okay, maybe not outer space, but still, some pretty cool stuff. Welcome to the channel. Before we get started, take a moment to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you'll know when we post a new video. Now get ready to learn some stuff. Here are 25 amazing facts you didn't know about. The 2004 Indian Ocean earthquake and tsunami, which occurred on December 26, 2004, was one of the most powerful earthquakes ever recorded, with a magnitude of 9.1 to 9.3. Fact number 1. It was so powerful it caused a very small increase in the Earth's rotation speed, which in turn shortened the length of a day by about 2.68 microseconds. We're talking microseconds here, but still, it's crazy to think that something happening on our planet can actually change the way it spins. Makes you realize how powerful nature really is. Alright, next up we're heading to ancient Sparta. Fact 2. In ancient Sparta, after the wedding, brides would have their hair cut short and be dressed in men's clothing. Apparently this was done so that the bride would appear less threatening to their groom during the wedding night. I mean, hey, whatever works, right? Fact 3. In Japan, they have a thing called nagashi somen, which are restaurants with flowing troughs of water where noodles slide down and you have to catch them. And apparently the land of flowing noodles. Imagine this. You walk into a restaurant, but instead of tables and chairs, you see a long, winding trough filled with ice-cold water. And then, noodles come racing down this watery roller coaster. It's like a slip and slide for your dinner. I gotta try this nagashi somen thing. It looks absolutely bonkers. This next one takes us to Switzerland, the land of cheese and chocolate. Fact 4. Switzerland has enough nuclear fallout shelters to house their entire population. You know those super organized folks are all about preparedness. I bet their shelters are stocked with enough Toblerone and fondue to last through a nuclear winter. Hey, maybe that's the secret to Swiss neutrality. They're just too well prepared to mess with. You gotta respect that level of commitment to safety. Hold your horses, everyone, because this next fact is gonna make you do a double take. We're heading to Finland, the land of saunas and hobby horsing? Fact 5. In Finland, where the hobby originated, hobby horsing is not only done as a hobby, but is also a competitive sport. And these Finns are serious about their stick steeds. There is an annual national championship for it. The hobby itself involves a person using a hobby horse instead of a real horse to do movement sequences similar to show riding. I gotta say I have a newfound respect for anyone who can rock a hobby horse with such skill and grace. Hey guys, you know how we have the tooth fairy? Fact 6. Fact, in some Spanish-speaking countries, they've got something way cooler. It's a little mouse who collects teeth. This little guy's name is Ratoncito Perez, aka Raton Perez, aka El Raton de los Dientes, and he's like the tooth fairy's cooler, braver cousin. Kids leave their teeth for him, usually under their pillows, and some kids really go the extra mile for Raton and leave a glass of water to quench his thirst, and get this, Ratoncito Perez leaves a gift including money. Fact 7. Until the middle of the 20th century, cats tasked with rodent control aboard ships were issued passports. These passports were uniquely signed with the imprint of their own paws. To acknowledge the cat's contribution and ensure their safety during international travels, they were given passports. These passports were not legally recognized, but they were a unique and light-hearted tradition. Okay, everyone knows the story of Dr. Faustus, right? The guy who makes a deal with the devil for ultimate knowledge? Classic. But did you know that the story is actually loosely based on a real person? Fact 8. Johann Georg Faust was an alchemist, magician, and all-around mysterious figure back in the 16th century. Now, we don't know all the details about his life, which just adds to the intrigue. He traveled all over Europe, performing magic shows and claiming to possess secret knowledge. He was like the David Copperfield of his day, but with way more alchemy and probably fewer tigers. You guys ever think about how we see things, like how our eyeballs work? It's kind of freaky when you really think about it. Fact 9. We got this thing called the optic chiasm in our brains. It's like a crossroads for all the visual information coming from our eyes. Basically, the left side of each eye sends signals to the left side of the brain, and the right side of each eye sends signals to the right side of the brain. And somehow, our brains take all this crisscrossed information and put it together to create one clear image. It's like magic, but with more neurons. Alright folks, we gotta get serious for a minute. World War II was a rough time, and its impact went way beyond the battlefields. Fact 10. An estimated 400,000 children were fathered by occupying forces in Germany during the war. Alright folks, you know I love a good daredevil story, and this one is a doozy. Fact 11. Sonora Carver was the first female horse diver. You're riding a horse and not just any ride. You're about to plunge off a platform that's like 60 feet high straight into water. That's horse diving, people. Insane, right? But here's the kicker. Sonora? She kept going even after a dive went wrong. She hit the water with her eyes open and went blind. But did that stop her? No way. This woman was tough. She kept horse diving for another 11 years before animal activists shut down the activity. Get ready to have your mind blown because this next one goes way back. We're talking ancient Rome, toga parties, gladiators, and yogurt? That's right, turns out yogurt's been around for ages. We know this because the big man himself, Pliny the Elder, wrote about it. Wrote this massive encyclopedia, Natural History, total brainiac. Fact 12. The oldest writings mentioning yogurt are attributed to Pliny the Elder. Pliny mentioned that these, and I quote, barbarous nations knew the secret to thick, tangy milk. There is a theater named the Jerome Lawrence and Robert E. Lee Theater Research Institute at Ohio State University. Fact 13. The theater was named Robert E. Lee after the playwright, not the general. And get this, his wife was a voice actress for Hanna-Barbera cartoons. Talk about a power couple. He's writing hit plays, she's voicing iconic characters. That's some serious talent under one roof. Alright, language lovers, this one's for you. Ever heard of the Ubykh language? Get ready to be amazed because this language is seriously next level. We're talking 83 consonants. Fact 14, the extinct Ubykh language spoken in the Caucasus until 1992 holds the record for most consonants. It had 83, but only 2 vowels. To put that in perspective, English has a measly 24. Can you imagine trying to learn Ubykh? You'd spend your whole life just trying to pronounce the alphabet. Hey guys, you ever see something so weird it makes you question if you're even awake? That's kinda how I feel about salps. These things are like the aliens of the ocean, but instead of probing people, they just glow. Fact 15. A solitary salp reproduces asexually by budding a chain of clones that create light. A salp starts life as a female and then turns into a male. You ever just lay in bed thinking about that delicious leftover pizza in the fridge? You can practically picture yourself walking over there, opening the door, and bam! Pizza time! Well, get this. Our brains are basically running mental simulations all the time. Fact 16. These brainiacs at MIT did this study, and it turns out, when we think about a place, our brains fire up the same way as if we were actually there. They call it mental mapping, and it's like having Google Maps built right into your noggin. So, when you're picturing that pizza heist, your brain is literally activating the same pathways it would if you were actually walking to the fridge. Gather around, folks, it's time for a conspiracy sweeter than gummy bears. We're talking about sugar, the white stuff in everything delicious. Fact 17. In the 1960s, sugar companies wanted us to think sugar was harmless. They paid a Harvard researcher to say sugar's cool, fat's the bad guy. They manipulated research to make sugar look good and fat bad. Today we travel to World War II, to a city under siege, Leningrad. It was freezing cold, bombs raining down, and people starving. Amidst the chaos, scientists showed incredible bravery for the love of seeds. Fact 18. Scientists working at the world's largest collection of seeds protected the seeds from the threats of the cold, the hungry residents of the besieged city, rats, and their own hunger. Tragically, 28 botanists died of starvation while protecting their collection. Alright gamers, get ready to have your minds blown. Fact 19. The US Air Force built a supercomputer out of PlayStation 3s. Yup, the same console that brought us Uncharted and Little Big Planet. This Condor cluster wasn't for gaming marathons. It analyzed high-resolution images, billions of pixels a minute. Tasks that took hours now took seconds. Imagine generals huddled around a giant PlayStation, controllers in hand. But hey, whatever works, right? Okay, history buffs, time for a sweet treat from the past. Fact 20. A popular treat during the American Civil War was horehound candy, made from horehound plants. Maybe it was surprisingly delicious. Like a cross between licorice and cough drops with a hint of grass. Horehound candy was like the Civil War version of Pepto, soothing upset stomachs and sore throats. But hey, you can at least impress your friends with your knowledge of obscure Civil War treats. And now, for a little-known rock and roll rebellion, Fact 21. Did you know that Led Zeppelin was scheduled to play an outdoor show in Singapore on February 14, 1972? However, they were not allowed into the country. The reason? They refused to cut their long hair to comply with Singapore's strict law at the time. Yes, the legendary rock band was even refused permission to get off their plane. Talk about standing up for their style. Rock on, Zeppelin. And finally, let's dive into a fascinating political drama that almost changed the map of New York City. Fact 22. In 1993, a staggering 65% of Staten Island residents voted to secede from the rest of New York City. Frustrated with the city's governance, they sought to become an independent city. However, their efforts were ultimately blocked by the state assembly. Imagine the Big Apple with a missing slice, Staten Island as its own city. What a twist in New York City's history. And now for a fizzy fact that might just blow your mind. Fact 23. Did you know that the soft drink 7-Up initially contained lithium citrate, a mood-stabilizing drug? That's right. When it was first introduced in 1929, 7-Up was marketed as 7-Up Lithiated Lemon Soda. The lithium was a key selling point believed to lift your spirits and brighten your mood. However, in 1948, the FDA banned lithium from being used in beer and soft drinks, leading to the reformulation of this iconic beverage. Fact 24. Of the 45 individuals who have served as President of the United States, at least half have displayed proficiency in speaking or writing a language other than English. These multilingual leaders have often used their linguistic skills to navigate international diplomacy and multicultural interactions. Interestingly, only one U.S. President, Martin Van Buren, learned English as his second language. His first language was Dutch. His unique linguistic background highlights the diverse roots from which American leadership has emerged. And now, for an amusing fact about one of the world's most famous cheeses. Fact 25. Despite its name, Stilton cheese cannot legally be made in Stilton, the village which gave the cheese its name. The reason? European Union law dictates that the blue cheese can only be produced in the counties of Derbyshire, Leicestershire, and Nottinghamshire. Stilton Village, located in Cambridgeshire, is unfortunately outside this designated area. We've done it! Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more interesting content. Until next time, keep discovering one fact at a time.